store. So that's why people were running. Everyone somehow got the word that vans had been infiltrated. And so people decided to go in there and come out with whatever they can.
Okay, so yeah, we have the ground shot, so clearly you're right there at 4th and Broadway. Be careful. Right there in Santa Monica. This was the original looting scene when we came to you about 30 minutes ago or so. We saw the loot. You see an empty Vans shoebox, and they just took the shoes, the valuable portion of it all, of course. The Van store being looted. It's always worth repeating it. I'm going to repeat this, that there's a big difference between the protesters and the looters. The protesters are doing so, and look at this guy with just an armful of Vans merchandise leaving. Cameras rolling, people are recording this. Law enforcement, we haven't seen Santa Monica police officers here. So the looters are bearing the message of George Floyd at this point. That is. So this is the differentiation right here. Our pictures. This is peaceful protesters on the right marching along Ocean Boulevard peacefully, and then the smaller picture, the looters. And the idea is to end police brutality and to fight for justice in the name of George Floyd and others. The systemic injustice that this country has been dealing with for decades. And the looting has nothing to do with that. That's criminal activity. It is not protected by the First Amendment. And so it's bizarre to watch that. It's heartbreaking. It's disheartening to see people in broad daylight without any regard, plenty of people around, and they are blatantly stealing from the Van store. A much larger scale last night at various stores around Fairfax, the Fairfax district, the Grove, and then mimicking that today. We've seen that at Santa Monica Place, the major mall not far from this location at 4th and Broadway. In fact, right across the street, we can see that art fixture there on Santa Monica Place, and that in fact is the mall where we saw more of that looting happening. Coco.
Hi, yes, now we're here. We're right outside of Vans. So you can see people have gone inside of the store. As you were seeing before you came to me too, people really came out with a number of shoe boxes as well. I'm trying to see exactly how people got in because I'm not at this time seeing a broken window. But hey, Julio, if we walk this way, you can see that there are shoe boxes on the sidewalk as well. So at the time, it seems like people are going in, they're finding shoes, they're taking the shoes out of the shoe boxes and running at this point. And there is still a large group of people here outside of Vans. However, like I said, I'm trying to figure out how exactly people got in. But you can just see a number of shoes scattered on the sidewalk. I should say shoe boxes. People now kicking them, walking by. And this is a very different scene from where I was standing earlier with the peaceful protesters that had signs saying Black Lives Matter. Another woman now running into this store. A group of people, actually, you can see, running now, trying to get to another store that appears to have been infiltrated.
So my question to Coco is, and I know you weren't sure, is there broken windows to get into the Van store? Is their front door open? How are they getting in?
It appears to me that people just simply walked in the front door. I mean, now there's a little bit of chaos because people are running with shoes, they're dropping shoe boxes and heading to another store. But you can see right here, this man is talking and the door is open. However, it appears like now in this place, people ended up standing in front of the store to try to protect it. Is that what you did? Yeah. If we could talk to you real quick, tell us about why you decided to stand out here.
I want to be here as an ally. I want to understand why everyone's so upset. I want to understand why this. I just wanted to hear from one person, is there any other way? And can we talk about it? I mean, this may feel like it helps today, but what about tomorrow? What about next week? What about,
oh my God, okay, but you're literally and you're literally shielding this with your bike.
Yes.
And people watching will be like, oh my gosh, why is it so important to you
I want to understand. People are upset. We do this now. We do this today. We did this yesterday. What about next week? This is not sustainable. This is not healthy for anyone. And we've got to find another way, and we've got to talk about it. I just wanted to hear from one person, and we get this.
So please stay safe out here. I appreciate you trying to defend the store here. Absolutely. As you can see now, there are a number of people running all over the street looking for different stores to go into at this time. You just heard from a young lady who was literally trying to defend this van store with her bike. And she said she's trying to talk to people to understand exactly what and why this is happening, because we do want to point out, of course, this is a completely different group of people than what we saw at Ocean and Montana. Now you can see more police officers going to this area. They're now standing right in front of vans, and they're going inside. I think now, instead of this young lady with her bike who is defending this store, we've now got police officers here to defend this store.
Just an unbelievable scene. Coco McAvoy, this is Alex Michelson is now taking over our coverage. Our thanks to Marla for her hours and hours of excellent work. Wow. That may have just been a flashbang that we heard there in the streets as police try to move people out of this area. To see that woman with her bike then be replaced by police and riot gear. What a scene of chaos on the streets of Santa Monica. Of course, 3rd Street Promenade, one of the most trafficked areas in the country all year in terms of shopping. They were just getting shopping going. And now you literally see tanks through the streets of Santa Monica with armed police showing their guns to people to try to bring some order to the chaos. Coco, it must be something now to see the change as police start coming in.
That's right. We're seeing a number of police officers now start to come in. As you mentioned, there was a flashbang as well, because at one point, a number of people were running in the street. And so police officers have now really been focusing on this area, trying to get people to move. So we're going to cross the street here so we can keep showing you what's going on. Hold on, Julio. As you can see now, there's a man trying to control traffic here in the street. This is really becoming a little bit chaotic. It's much different than the message from earlier with peaceful protesters. You can hear another flashbang in the distance here as we continue to walk towards the police officers. And now there's a number of police officers here parked in the street, but they're not saying much at this time. However, we do keep hearing flashbangs.
I mean, the split screen is stunning as you look at right now a peaceful protest happening near the Santa Monica Pier that we're looking at from Skyfox right now, and then this chaos in the street from these agitators and criminals who are flagrantly robbing from stores right before our eyes with no regard. And so, you have this sort of split screen happening not only here in Santa Monica and other cities in Southern California and around the country. This idea of the protest versus this looting that we are seeing. And Coco right in the middle of the looting right now. I think a lot of our viewers were probably wondering, as I was watching this before I started our coverage, where are the police watching some of this extraordinary looting in place in Santa Monica? And now we're starting to see them and see them in quite a show of force here to hopefully stop some of that looting from happening. But clearly they're very taxed right now as they try to deal with all of these different problems. It has really been some extraordinary coverage from Coco McAvoy and her photographer Julio Duran. There we see other people running. And you wonder if some of these people are running because they just want to get away from the chaos, or if they're running because they just looted a store. On a usual day, not in the era of coronavirus, the 3rd Street Promenade would be one of the busiest areas in all of Southern California. You see that shopping center right there and the parking lots that so many of us are familiar with. And instead of seeing convertibles on the street, you see a tank, which is really an extraordinary sight to see in the middle of any American city, especially when it is our own hometown here. Coco, What are you seeing? Does it seem like, as we've seen more police, that some of these looters are starting to head out? Are they